And let's just, this is my microphone baffle. Alright, that might make some of the background noise go away, who knows. Seem to have quite a bit of background noise, don't I? If I turn down the volume a bit and speak a bit louder. Bit louder? A bit louder? No, okay, we'll go with that. We do have some background noise, but that's the way it goes. Now, let's just check and see if we're actually streaming. Go away, who knows. Seem to have quite a bit of background noise, don't I? If I turn down the volume a bit and speak a bit louder. Bit louder? A bit louder? No, okay, louder. We'll go with that. We do have some background noise, but that's the way it goes. Okay, I've cranked up the volume a little bit more. If we're actually streaming. Oh, right. And kill the volume. All right. So now I'm going to go to YouTube itself. All right. Some background noise, but that's the way it goes. Okay, all right. Looks like we're good. And just getting set up here. I'm going to tweet it out. Again, I still don't know how to find the URL of the YouTube stream before I actually start the stream. So all right, tweeted that out. Okay. Now, if I ever figure out how to trim the beginnings off of these recordings, I may do that, but it's not really at the top of my priority list because I think people who watch these recordings know enough to wait a little bit while they get going. There's always a few minutes up at the front as I get started and warmed up, but here we go. I've got an audience of 1, which is probably myself. Let's close that off, and we'll probably see that drop down to 0. Or maybe not seeing, because I'm viewing it live here, but oh well. Doesn't matter. No, I'm up to 2, so okay. All right. So what's on for today? What we're going to do is install Discourse using Docker, and the objective here, now again, I haven't read the instructions, so who knows what'll happen, but the objective here is to get a cloud version of Discourse. I gotta remember to say Discourse and not Discord. I keep getting them mixed up. Not good. I want to get an instance of Discourse, which is a discussion board software, up and running in the cloud so that I can use it for PLEs and MOOCs and whatever. You know, maybe I'll get to how I'm going to connect this to PLEs and MOOCs and whatever. Maybe I won't, but the main objective here, let's just get one of these puppies up and running, see what it takes. Shouldn't be that much, but yeah. So I've previously gone to the Discourse GitHub, and that's just github.com/discourse, and here you can see it here, and the actual repository for Discourse itself, it's kind of confusing at first. I have looked at this page, so I can tell you it's kind of confusing at first. So let me just make it a bit bigger and we'll see. See, Discourse has a whole bunch of repositories. In fact, there's 357 repositories. So you kind of have to know what you're doing. No, you don't. But look at the pinned repositories, and you see one for Discourse. So that's the actual application, and the URL is github.com/discourse/discourse. So that's nice and clear. So I'm going to scroll down a bit, because you always do with GitHub, because for some reason all the files come first and then the README comes next. So this will tell me a little bit about Discourse. 100% open source discussion platform built for the next decade of the internet. Use it as a mailing list, discussion forum, long form chat room. Okay, and then it tells you to go to discourse.org. If you go to discourse.org, here it is, and you see try it free. Look at the pricing. 100 a month, 300 a month, enterprise, contact us. Right? Well, that's a lot for open source software. So I'm not really interested in that. I mean, that's really super duper expensive, and I'm not really seeing the free thing here. Right? They're just trials, right? And so no. All right, so let's go back to GitHub. We'll keep scrolling down, scroll down past all the examples. Aha. Development. See, and then oh, hang on a sec. I'm just going to kill the audio here. Okay, that was Andrea. She saw Spring Azure. So, anyhow, where were we? Yes. So, here's the install guide. If you're looking for business class hosting, remote circuit, don't worry about those. We'll go to the Discourse install guide, and that's here. How do I install Discourse? So we have two options. Beginner Docker install guide, that's for me. Or the advanced Docker install guide, that's for people who know what they're doing. So software requirements, So the whole point of a Docker install guide is I don't need to worry about all of these software requirements. So I'm just going to ignore that and hope it doesn't bite me in the end. Now, here's the part I haven't read yet. So this is going to be new. And so let's see what we got. Set up Discourse in the cloud in under 30 minutes with zero knowledge of Rails. That's a framework for the Ruby programming language. Or Linux Shell. One example is DigitalOcean. But these steps will work on any Docker-compatible cloud provider or local server. Or they'll do it for $150, which is probably the easiest $150 they make. So, they're using DigitalOcean. Let's see if I can't just use Reclaim. I have a DigitalOcean account. We'll go to that if we have to, but it's expensive. So let's just go to Reclaim. So reclaim.cloud. So here we are. I'm just going to log in. And we'll see some of my previous cloud stuff up there already. So some Grasshopper, etc. But we're going to create a new Docker install. So I'm going to go to the marketplace and I'm going to go to Docker Engine CE and click install. So I have no idea whether the default is good enough, but we'll learn that the hard way. Meanwhile, we'll just come back here to the instructions. That's going to take a few moments to load. So we'll look at the instructions. So create the cloud server. We've done that with Reclaim. Access your cloud server. Now, we've seen this before, so okay. Now, install Docker and Git. Now, these are already installed when you install the Reclaim Docker environment. So all we will need to do once this installment is ready is we'll just have to access the cloud server with SSH and then install Discourse. So looking at this, okay, so clone the official Discourse Docker image. Alright, so it's going to want us to Discourse Docker Git. So we're still waiting for this to load, right? Yeah. So let's peek and see what we're actually cloning here. Normally I don't really worry about this, but you know, you get what you get. But we have a few seconds here. So Discourse Docker, so this is one of the 500 million repositories of Discourse. So there's not a lot to it. Some containers. Well, we have a container. Actually, I don't think that was a container. What we should have is don't have much here at all. Okay, container IDs, container samples. These are just predefined directories for me to use. Docker files for Discourse, that's where it is an image. Okay, so here's the image. Here are the Docker files, I guess, base, and the Docker file. And here's the Docker file, and we'll see it's going to set up Ruby for us. It should set up, well, it should set up everything. All right. Oh, we're all ready. Okay, so let's close this. Close this thing, and this is our new Docker engine that we've just created. And so let's just give it a new name. I learned how to do this recently, so we're just going to call this Discourse. And all right, so the actual application is in here. So remember, we need to access it with SSH. So again, it's kind of a hostile environment, but you hover over engine node and then hover over this web SSH, and now I click on it, and that's going to open up a terminal here for me. So now let's go back to the instructions. So I've created the cloud server, I've accessed it with SSH, I've installed Docker and Git. So now clone the official Discourse Docker image into var Discourse. Okay, so okay, it's the commands are going to do that for me. All right, so I don't need to worry. Sudo -s, I don't know what that means. Let's see what that means. Sudo, which jumps you into super user mode. I knew that. But what's the -s thing do? I don't know. Sudo. Let's put it in quotation marks and see if we can't get that specifically. All right. Sudo -s. sudo -s asks your passwords. Oh, here we go. The -s shell options opens the shell specified by the shell environment. No idea why we need to use that. I'm pretty sure we don't need to use that, at least here, so we'll just ignore that. So on a lot of Linux systems, you don't log in as root, you log in as whoever, or someone who's not root, and then you use the sudo command to assume the powers of root. And it'll typically ask you for your password, and then the .s, I guess, puts the powers of root into a shell. I don't know why we would need to do that here. It's a bit unusual, but so I'm just gonna clone it directly into var discourse. So let's do that. So Control V for paste, hit enter, and now we're going to cd into var discourse. I can make this bigger, can't I? Seems to me I discovered how to do that before. Maybe not. Oops. I don't want to do that. I already did that. Maybe I can't make this bigger. Settings. Control Shift Alt. Control Shift Alt. Text input on screen keyboard. Display. Big. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay. So, okay, so what's next? You will need to be root through the rest of the setup and bootstrap process. So, you might as well log in as root. Okay, email is critical, etc., etc. Okay, so I have email. It's on Google Mail, and it's just my regular Stephen@downs.ca email address. So, okay. Discourse will not work from an IP address. You must own a domain name. Tricky. Happily, I own a domain name. I own several. Great. Select a subdomain for your Discourse instance. No domain name. We can recommend someplace you have to pay for. And actually, thinking about it, one of the advantages of doing it with Reclaim is these all have their own domain names, so I don't need to worry about that probably. Okay. So, alright, so next, edit Discourse configuration. Launch the setup tool at Discourse setup. What could they possibly mean by that? Well, maybe let's just enter that as a command and see if it does something. So we'll go back to Reclaim. Okay, let's Control V to enter it, and let's launch it. Alright. Sort of scrolled off the bottom of my screen. Alright. Ports 80 and 443 are free for use. Found 4G of memory and 12 physical CPU cores. So this is the default that comes with Reclaim. Setting unicorn markers equals 8. Alright. Host name for your Discourse. So the host name for my Discourse in this case is going to be this right here. So my big question is, how do I get that But I guess there's no easier way except to type it, eh? I have to be careful. I don't want the grasshopper one. I want the discourse one. Is there any easy way to copy it? No, I'll just type it out. env hyphen 7498052.ca reclaim.cloud. Oh crap. My backspace key doesn't work. .ca dot reclaim dot cloud. All right, I think I got everything right there. Let's hit enter. Checking your domain name. The tension is thick. Oh, jeez. You keep having to scroll down manually. That's a bit of a weakness in there. You need to open the socket using netcat. However, netcat is not installed on your system. You can continue without this check or abort the setup, install netcat, and try again. Let's continue without this check. Okay, email address. Okay, put that in. SMT server address. Ooh, I don't know what that is for Google, but I can look it up. Gmail SMT server. Oh, it's just smtserver.com. We'll try that. It might be a 30-minute install, but you have to know some things, eh? All right. SMT port. It's probably 587, but let's see. Yep. 465 or 587. If your client begins with plain text, which it probably does, but who knows. So what I'm doing here now, let's keep this in mind, right? Each of these things is a point where the install could have gone wrong, right? Could have gone wrong with the domain name, could have gone wrong with the SMTP, could have gone wrong now with this port. Just note these things, because if and when it fails, this is where it could have gone wrong. Okay, so let's just go with the default. So to go with the default, I just hit enter. SMT username will be my username. What is my username on Google anyways? I think it's just Downs, but I could be wrong. Oh no, right. I think it's my email address. That's right. I think. Pretty sure. Sure enough that that's what I'm going to put in. Steven that Downs.ca. SMT password. Ooh. So we don't want the whole world to see this. So maybe I'm just gonna give you the camera view while I enter this, and we'll just wait till that scrolls off the screen. That's crazy that it's not like obscured. Okay. It's asking me for my notification email address, which is just my email address. Optional email address, enter to skip. Optional max mint license key for geolocation. We're just going to skip. Okay. Now it's going to repeat all of that, including my password. Okay. Update successful. Rebuilding in 5 seconds. Okay, now we can see it again. So this is pulling from. Okay, so it's running the Docker file now. I can tell not because it's telling me, but because I can recognize this kind of thing. We are about to start downloading the Discourse base image. This process may take anywhere between a few minutes to an hour, depending on your network speed, which kind of makes a mash of this whole promise of half-hour install. Okay. Downloaded newer image, ensuring launcher is up to date. Now we're installing some stuff and doing some configuring. And this is now the database server configuring. Started up the database. Server initialized, ready to accept connections. Okay. Well, for Grasshopper, that's when it's done. But no, this is going to do some more stuff. Okay. Depreciated. Well, I don't care. But we're not going to worry about this. Hopefully this isn't something that's broken. So, a couple of depreciated things. Nope, not broken. Alright, now it's building Rails. So like I said, Rails is a framework that's built on top of the Ruby programming language. Some more warnings. And basically what it does is it sets up and manages your data tables and your schema and all of that. And what Rails was nice at is, you can define the schema ahead of time, then it'll install all of that for you, and you don't need to worry about it. I remember when it first came out, and it was really flaky when it first came out, and I got disenchanted with it, so I stopped working on it. So now apparently Rails developers make $160,000 a year, have their own personal servants. These little life decisions that change what you could have done. Let's see, while this is loading, let's see if anybody's watching. We're not the most popular stream in the world, although we did get all the way up to 3 viewers there for a bit. Alright, let's go back. Compressing Ember Jquery. So Jquery will be for the front end. It's a JavaScript library. Wizard vendor. So embed applications. Doing a bunch of stuff. Mostly right now it's doing compressing stuff, so I'm not sure what's on about there, but okay. This is stuff that I'm not familiar with, so it's doing a lot of compressing. I guess it gets them as, fully, full JavaScript that people can read and edit, and then for production it compresses them down so that they use the minimum amount of space, gets rid of all the extra white spaces and reduces long variable names to short variable names, and so on. Okay, DB is saved on disk. Redis is ready to exit. Bye bye. Okay. So this is common, where it'll start stuff up, set it up, and then shut down and then start it up again. Okay, now this SHA 256. Anyhow, that's a key of some sort. Okay. And alright, so this last bit, run. So it's going to start up my my image. -D means detach. That's why I'm getting a command prompt here. If I didn't have that, it'd just sort of sit there and I wouldn't know it was done. And restart always. Okay, language is English. Rails environment is production. And now some environment variables. Each -E is an environment variable. Right, so in this way, right, and this is pretty cool. I like this. I need to learn more about this. See how the environment, discourse, SMTP, domain, etc. It defines it here, so I don't need some sort of startup file or configuration file the way I do in Grasshopper. My problem with doing something like this is the Apache web server tends to overwrite the environment variables, so I can't capture them in the image the Apache web server is running on, and that's where I would kind of need it. Okay, let's go back to the instructions. Okay, so I asked all of these problems, or all of these things, generated an app.yml configuration on your behalf, then kicks off bootstrapping. We just saw that. If you need to change these settings after bootstrapping, you can run this discourse setup again, and it'll just reuse the previous values, so it won't ask you questions anymore. Okay, so start discourse should be accessible in your web browser via the domain name you entered earlier. All right, so our domain name, let's just scroll down a bit here, move this down a bit. So here's our discourse environment. That's our domain name. And here I can open in browser. So this is the moment of truth. Congratulations, you installed Discourse. Yay. Register a new account to get started. So username, I like to give myself the username downs on these systems. Password, good. So you can't see it. Hopefully I've typed that right. Okay, they've sent an activation mail. So let's see if it did indeed arrive. We'll pop into Thunderbird. Free software for the win. Let's open it up. And yes, I have lots of email. I'm sorry. But where is it? Okay. Some spam from Uber. So these are the 3 things from Reclaim for me setting up my account. Beast Notes is more spam. So I don't see any email. Let's check under all mail. Sometimes it's there. Go to unread. More garbage. Huh. If it doesn't arrive, check your spam folder and ensure you set up email correctly. Well, let's check the spam folder first. Academic software. Market forecast. Not in spam. Not in the inbox. Should have worked. Let's click on this. Alright, let's check containers app.yml file. Oh, it's got to have my password in it. I don't want you to see my password. Let's go to Google Mail, Gmail. Right, and nothing here either. Let's go to my account, make sure my account, that is my account name. Manage your Google account. Blah-dee-da-dee-da. Security issues found. Oh, I know what that is. Never mind. Help. No, I don't want help for this. Set up SMTP. SMTP settings. It's relatively recent. Oh, that's stupid. Why is that even in the help, right? There's the answer. Check that Imap is turned on. On your computer, open Gmail. Click Settings, see all settings, click Forwarding and pop Imap tab. Okay, so let's do that first. So we'll open this in a new tab. In the top right, click Settings. And then click Forwarding in the pop Imap tab. Maybe we have to click See All Settings. Oh, forwarding and pop IMAP. That's not the easiest thing to find, is it? Pop is disabled. Enable IMAP is enabled. That's right, that's what I want. Alright. Configure instructions. So 465 or 587. So that might have been the problem. Remember I said these things might be where the problem is. So smtp.gmail.com requires SSL, yes. Requires TLS if yes, if available. Full email address, your Gmail password. Alright. Let's test my Gmail password. And you won't see this, obviously. And okay, success. All right. So The only thing it could be is the port 465 instead of 587. Let's check and see if it's arrived. Nope. Let's go back then. Oops. Where was I? Here. I'm having trouble finding my my original. Should reclaim cloud. Should be right here. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's containers app.yml file. So let's go to the app.yml file. I'll list all the files here. Oops. There we go. This is not useful. Let's go away. Troubleshoot. Containers app.yml. So containers is a directory. Yes, there it is. cd containers ls. There's app.yml. So let's see. Nano is a little text editor that sometimes works. All right. So this is our configuration for our discourse environment. Okay, unicorn workers, host name SMTP. Oh, for God's sakes. Well, now I have to change my Google password. I'll be doing that in just a moment. Crap. Well, okay. So all of that is right. That's really annoying that that's stored right there in plain text. I do not like that. I do not like that at all. All right, the only thing that can be is the port. Then what was the other port possibility? 465. Let's edit this to 465. Where's my cursor? There it is. Control S, Control X, save, yes. And cd dot, and then run the setup again. I'm just using the up arrow to scroll through my previous commands. There it is. So it's reconfiguring. Host name, yeah. No. Okay. Oh, try that again. All right, host name is correct. Yes. Email as it was. smtp.gmail.com. Let's check that to be sure. smtp.gmail.com. So That's good. Server port 465, which I just put in. Username is correct. Password, as we now know, is correct. Notification email, Stephen@downs.ca. Optional. Enter to skip. Enter to skip. Enter to continue. I have no idea what max mind is. Alright, building up. This should run a lot faster because everything that needs to be downloaded has been downloaded. So of course, part of the problem too is I might have, I created a new account using email address that I had used to verify it, which would have the net result of me sending an email to myself using the SMTP in Google, in Gmail, and it might not allow that without telling me, of course. Just a theory. It's pretty clear we're not doing this in half an hour. So, rats. Nothing new there. And in fact, if this doesn't work this time, I'm not sure what to do to fix it because I'm not sure what I did wrong. Because, it hasn't been bouncing any error messages. While this is still loading, let's go back to the troubleshooting. To confirm that okay, well, there's more stuff, but we can check, so okay, good. Come back to that. Can't believe I have to change my Gmail password now. How annoying. Did anyone actually see this? No. Alright. Still waiting for it to start up. And wow, thinking about that. If I change my password and my password's recorded in this setup file, my Discord will stop working. So there's got to be a way of fixing that inside Discord without having to restart it all. Look at it go. Redis is ready to exit. We're almost there. And I am just on a reclaim instance. It's like a temporary domain. And so, yeah, it could well be blocked. I mean, Google would be smart to block requests coming from temporary domains. All right, here we go. So it's launched again. I assume it's all brand new. Open in browser. We'll leave that there. We'll close that. Yeah. All right. Register a new account to get started. Downs, just like before. Okay, let's see if I got my activation email. Nothing. try resending it too. Still nothing. Okay. Let's move to the next steps in the troubleshooting. To confirm that your server can indeed connect, issue this command. If you can't connect this way, right, that's mailgun. Alright, let's try that. I don't know if I should be connecting to mailgun or whatever, but okay, so okay. Now I clicked on control and then that square bracket thing to exit the escape character, and then I can just exit from Telnet. I'm not sure what the exit from Telnet. Well, Control C will exit me, right? Nope. Good. Then use quit to exit from Telnet. I'm gonna read every line of these instructions. Oh, I remember back in the 1980s when I used to use Telnet. Alright, so let's see if I can Telnet into the Gmail settings. smtbp.gmail.com. Yes, I can. So that was 587, and remember I used 465 as well. So let's try that. Was it 465? Yes. Yep. Alright, so I can connect to it, so I'm not being blocked. What do the discourse logs say? CD var discourse, tail, all of this. Okay. So CD var discourse, and then tail. Delivered mail, delivered mail. Job exception, end of file reached. I'm not sure that's a bad thing necessarily, unless end of file reached. LS. Do we have layouts here? No. LS-L. That's just to give myself, I use the -L to just give myself a bigger thing to look at. No. Alright. Look for anything mailer related. If you need to view the fuller log, so it's still the same log. Okay. Must enter your DNS records. What? No, my email arrives fine. Is the email domain correct? No, nothing like that. Not using Mailgun. Not using an IP address. Yes, I need to log in without receiving a registration email. Okay. May need to try alternative ports. Well, no, they would have said something on Gmail. No. How to test SMTP auth using Telnet. Let's try that. You have to install some Perl. Looks like. Wonder if this will work. So Telnet, mail server. Now, of course, we'll change those. Telnet, smtp.gmail.com 465. All right, escape. And then next. ELHO mailserver.com, or in this case EHLO hello. EHLO, type O, right? smtp.gmail.com. All right, let's try that again. EHLO.smtp. What I didn't use the escape character there, right? So gmail.com. Oh, I was too slow. Let's try that again. EHLO.smtp.gmail.com. Too slow. Let's copy this. Let's first get it right. yeah, it Control C, Control V to just test that string. Yes, good. Okay. All right, let's try this again. Telnet. No, still doesn't like me. So that's interesting. What was the other 567? No, it was 587. Oh, okay. Okay, well that's worth knowing. 587 does something. Okay. What was the next command? Reclaim cloud. Here it is. Auth login. A-U-T-H login. Must issue a start TTLS command first. Okay. Oops, too many T's. Login. Nope, didn't like that. Okay, well, I'm not so good at manually logging into Google's mail servers. And all right. So, what can we say then? We have not been able to. Let's just check my email just in case after all of this it somehow worked. No, it did not. So, you know, that's pretty basic to access using a Gmail account and have it not work. And you know, that's not good. So anyhow, that didn't work. Connections aren't being blocked. The logs don't say anything useful, except maybe the file just simply isn't there. Remember, it hit that end of file thing, so maybe it was just trying to send something blank. Most email providers have a log viewing function. Check the logs for your email domain. Don't have logs for my email domain. Okay, well, let's see if I can get into it at least without receiving a registration email. So let's go to var discourse. And then enter that command. And what was the third line of that? Rake admin create. So rake, I know, is a Ruby command. It's going to run something called a rake file. Stephen.downs.ca. User with this email already exists. You wish to reset the password for this email? Yes. Right. Oh, jeez. All right. It's not. All right. Maybe I can log in now. Who knows? Let's go to Discourse Login. All right. Long passwords are great, but you have to be a good typer. Logging in. Your first notification. Skip. Okay, this? I guess. Dismiss. Alright. So I'm in. Welcome to your new discourse. Let's get started with the setup wizard. What is the language for your community? We'll just call it MOOC test. Test. Jeez. Hi. Anyone can access. Users can sign up on their own. Oh, I like this. Must be invited, etc. I will use that if I can never get the email working. Contact. All right. Web page. Just put my web page in there. Will be sent from this user. Let's say will be sent from system. Oh boy. Downs.ca, governing law, Ontario, city for disputes, Ottawa. Let's go with plain. I don't really like the. Just go with all the defaults here, go with all the defaults here, go with all the defaults here. Home page looks fine. Invite staff. So let's invite Downs at downs.ca. Yes, that is a real email. We'll test that. No, I thought I did. Oh, add. Next, and we're done. Alright, well that's straightforward enough. I wonder if I can log into this with Downs at downs.ca. Well, let's try. Google Chrome. Okay, so let's go to Gmail. Still nothing from Discord, right? So okay, I don't know why it wants to do that. That's kind of weird. Okay, now I'm going to change who I'm logged in as. Sign out. Sign in again. No. Use another account. I got all kinds of accounts. Downs at downs.ca. Password. Boy, oh boy. Now, I never use this, so this is all spam that I've received to an email that I basically never use. Alright, so now I'm logged in as this. Let's go to my Discord and try to sign in. And let's see what happens. And Discourse Login. Actually, yeah, I invited myself, but I never got an invitation, did I? Did I? No, I did not. Why? Because email is not working. Right, here's my email. No, nothing. So that's not good. But let's see if I can't at least get in. So I'm gonna have to create my account. Downs at downs.ca. Downs S. And we'll give myself a password. Create your account. All right. You sent an activation email. Bet you haven't. Nope, no activation email. So, all right, we're going to end it here. Here's the verdict. Fail. I have no idea why it won't send email. Maybe there's no mail. Mail command not found. SMTP command not found. I bet you there's just no mail client on here. Test container for email client, or for email, just for email. Use MailHog. Postfix, that's the name. Let's see if Postfix works. Find mail. Fake mail. Yeah, you see, I think I don't have any email on this puppy. And if I don't have any email, I'm not going to have any way to send email. And it really looks like I don't have any email. Now, this is the host, right? The container. I'm not looking inside the container here. Actually, yeah, I'm not looking inside the container here. Docker, not, maybe I am looking inside the container, but I don't mean to be. Oh yeah, no, I'm in the app. Okay, this is the container. Right, so there's the PostgreSQL, etc. Hosts deny, etc. Yeah, I am in the container. But I have no email. I have LDAP, MTAB, all kinds of stuff. PAM, Python, Emacs. But yeah, no email. So, I don't know. What's it supposed to do? It's supposed to... Maybe one of these is email and I just don't recognize it as such, but I don't think so. I'm in ETC here, right? Yeah. Looking var. Oh, well, there's a mail log. Send email. Nothing in it. It's empty. Totally empty. So, no, nothing in the mail logs. Nothing in ETC that would indicate mail. I think there's just no mail in this container. And if there's no mail in this container, it's not going to send mail. One last thing and then I'll give up. Discourse on Docker doesn't send mail. If you're someone who had the exact same problem as I did, sending mail. Another Sherlock, they struggled at this same step for 3 weeks. If only there were several recommended mail. Yeah. Yeah. So what did you do to make it work exactly? Nobody knows. Mail not sending. Here's the same issue. Looks like it's a pretty common problem. The mail never arrives. Could be blocked for spam somewhere. Let's not go there. Discourse, reclaim hosting. That's kind of cool. What's old is new again. So XMT port. Alright, all that looks familiar. Okay. I guess they did not have a problem with email. Alright, so first they set up a Docker engine. That's an alternative way of doing it on Reclaim. And you can pick the type of engine that you set up. Then they created a domain. And then what? Yeah, you have to make sure you have a transactional email account and a record, and a record. Okay. Transactional email services. Yeah, I wonder if this would have been the trick, right? Using Mailgun or SparkMail instead of Gmail. There are more options. Recommended email providers for Discourse. And nobody's listing Google. So maybe my problem here isn't Discourse so much as it is Google just doesn't want to be the email server for Discourse. So, all right. I mean, the steps worked fine. The only problem was the email, and that email problem might be solvable if I used a different email provider. I might try that at some point in the future, but I've been doing this for way more than half an hour. I probably don't have anyone else listening. I have one person, might be me, who knows. And I have to go change my Google password now. So I think I'll call it here a day. Not a total fail. I mean, I did get it up and running. It's unusable without this active email. So I might try a new version, but certainly worth experimenting and figuring out what's going on. So that's where I'm going to end it. Thanks for watching. Not quite a pass, not quite a fail, somewhere in between. So actually a better result than usual for Stephen Follows Instructions. I'm Stephen Downs.